Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Got another reaction for you today. You guys seem to like these, so I'm going to try to do more of them. Today I'm going to do a reaction from a video by a guy named David Wynn. I have never heard of this guy, never seen any of his videos, but this one is called How I See the US After Living in Europe for 5 Years. But yeah, you guys seem to like this, so I hope you do. If you did, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so. Let's just jump into it.
I just had a nightmare that I had to choose between 40 brands of toilet paper. It wasn't a nightmare. This is the US. I always enjoy coming back to the US to see family, friends, nature. The nature is unbeatable, especially in a place like California.
I guess there are a lot more brands of toilet paper available in the US, I guess. I'm trying to think, last time I went to the grocery store and bought toilet paper, how many, maybe 5 or 6 types of toilet paper? I mean, you got the bio, the recycled paper, several ply, different types of plies. I don't know, I think maybe 5 or 6 I remember seeing.
But living in the US is sort of like living in one big Hollywood movie. It's an experience, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And after 4 years in Europe, I'm back in the US at the moment. So let me show you how.
I don't know that living in the US is like living in a movie, at least not in my experience living in Dallas, Texas for most of my life, and then I lived in South Carolina, Arkansas, and Las Vegas. Las Vegas, I guess, was most like a movie, but even that isn't really like a movie because once you've lived in Las Vegas for a few weeks or a month, like, you never go down to the Las Vegas Strip. Like, the only time you would ever go there is to maybe catch a show, like, go to a movie, maybe there's a movie some movie theaters, maybe go to a restaurant, hanging out with friends, or when people come in town, but you don't just go hang out on the regular on the Strip. It's a great way to go broke in Las Vegas.
How I see the US now. It's time to do some grocery shopping. And of course, I hop in my car and drive 2 blocks to my local supermarket.
For sure.
And why walk when one can drive? Grocery shopping is an experience, an adventure. You see, I'm used to only 1 or 2 choices of brands to choose from in the Netherlands. Here, there are like 50 brands of everything to choose from toilet paper to sausages to coffee. Let's see, hazel.
He mentioned sausages. In Germany, I swear to God, there are 500 types of sausages. So, I think there are more options for sausage in Germany than there are in the US, and I'm pretty sure there are, it's a competition for coffee choices because there are a ton of coffee choices here too.
Hazelnut, maple pecan. I'm gonna go with caramel spice this time. On one hand, the variety is amazing. On the other, it can take me up to 15 minutes to buy toilet paper. And oh, do you know about our national treasure, Costco? At Costco, you'll find anything and everything in extra, extra, extra large. Everything really is bigger in the US. Plus the free samples, and the cheap hot dogs, and yes, unlimited drink refills. This
I tell you, I do miss Costco, but I wouldn't have anywhere here to store Costco. What I do miss, it's probably in my top 5 things that I miss about the US are fountain drinks. Going into, a 7-Eleven or the US version of a Späti, right? A 7-Eleven or Quick Pick, one of those places, Quickie Marts, and getting a 64-ounce Diet Dr. Pepper or something for, like, 99 cents and getting ice in it. Like, I miss the fountain drink. Even when you go to a even when you get a soda at a restaurant here, A, you never get free refills, right? Or and B, it's never really it never tastes like it comes from a fountain. It always tastes like it comes from a chilled can or a bottle, which it's not the same as drinking from a fountain drink. So I do miss a good fountain drink soda from a 7-Eleven, something like that.
is America. holy crap, the selection is crazy.
For sure.
And while it's really nice to come back and see all this variety in the supermarkets from Safeway to Costco to Trader Joe's, it can be sometimes overwhelming when you have every single possible combination of coffee, toilet paper, and it can take me up to 20 minutes to buy a bag of chips. And the thing about free soda refills, while I still love the concept and I loved it as a child, it's actually not so free because it's going to cost you in the long run in terms of your health. It's time to go meet some friends for lunch. And on the way,
I mean, yeah, it's always better to drink water but everything in moderation. A soda's not gonna kill you, right? 2 sodas, 5 sodas a day is not gonna kill you, at least as long as you drink, like, 0 calorie. Now, if you're drinking your calories, that adds up. If it's like 120 calories per 12 ounces, you have 2 or 3 sodas, there's your calorie deficit right there, right? In my opinion, you should never drink your calories. You should always eat your calories and never drink your calories.
there, I see them. Oh my. It's always a shock. The homeless. This is the part that Hollywood never shows.
It's true.
But life goes on. It's part of everyday life in a big city.
Yeah, I mean, the homeless problem in California is obviously well known, but, Berlin has homeless too. It's not unique to California, it's not u unique to the United States. Houselessness is certainly an issue, along with mental health and drug addiction for sure.
But I am looking forward to lunch and the food scene in the US.
It's quite a
From Asian to Mexican to everything in between, there is something for everyone. And fast food everywhere, every block, every mall, every day. No wonder everyone is so big. Damn, I already gained 20 pounds, but I know I will lose it all when I get back to the Netherlands. And during lunch, my friend mentions her son had an allergic reaction, went to the emergency room. Luckily, he was fine, but they received a bill for $20,000. And then my other
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the biggest differences between living in Germany and living in the US is healthcare. Even if you have health insurance, you get sick and you have to go to the hospital, you could pay 10, 20, $50,000 out of pocket, even if you have health insurance. So, like, I have to wonder, like, what's the point of having health insurance? A lot of times what they do is they have what's called a deductible. So, and I'm not a, like, health insurance expert, but this is my understanding. If there's a deductible, you have to go to the doctor enough, spend enough money to hit that deductible. So say your deductible is $20,000. So until you spend $20,000, you're paying out of pocket for your health care. So minus, I think, obviously, I think minus routine checkups, things like that. I think like an annual checkup is probably covered in your health insurance. But say you break your arm and you have to go to a doctor and it costs $10,000. If you haven't met your deductible, you're going to pay that out of pocket. Medical debt is one of the largest percentages of reasons people file bankruptcy in the US because of medical debt. And so you shouldn't have to go broke if you get sick or hurt yourself. So that is definitely something about living in Germany that is so much better than living in the US.
friend tells me about the time he fainted, got transported to the ER, and was handed a $10,000 bill. It definitely makes one think twice before deciding to go to the ER. And then we talk about work, which is the most American thing to talk about. And he tells me casually, it's fine, same old, had to work this past weekend. Still working 60 hours a week. And I think to myself, if I ever decide to return back to the US, I think it would be quite difficult for me to adapt back to the American way of life, culture, in terms of working, the number of hours, the stress, the lack of vacation, the fact that people don't take their vacation days. But I do miss parts of American work culture, the drive, the ambition.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard it that um, Americans live to work and Europeans work to live. It is a completely different way of life. Now, I've been fortunate in my life to be for the most of my professional career, I was self-employed, so I could set my own hours as long as I got my work done. It didn't matter if I worked 20 hours a week or 60 hours a week. But not everyone has been as fortunate as me. And right now, obviously, I'm basically a student and I'm self-employed with tour guides, so I don't have a steady job that I have to go to 40 hours a week. But I definitely don't. I definitely think that part of American culture is so much worse than European culture.
The energy, being surrounded by people who are very ambitious about their careers, it drove me to become a better person, a more confident person. And to be honest, I do miss that because that is part
Maybe if I was younger, that would be something I miss, but no, I don't. I don't have any love lost for that at all. That's not something in my vocabulary, in my wheelhouse that I miss.
of my DNA growing up in the US. But it's a trade-off, right? It's a trade-off between, yes, you do make a lot more money in the US, but the trade-off is time. And then we start talking about vacation. Another friend tells me about his jam-packed 1 week vacation visiting 4 countries. And I was like, how is that possible? 4 countries, 1 week? Then I remember. That's how I used to travel as well.
So I gave a tour one time to this young American couple in their 30s from Mississippi, and she was a dentist. He was a PhD student. I think he was working on something. He was in education of some sort, and they were here for 9 days, and I think they were going to 8 different countries, 8 different cities. I want to say they were going from like Warsaw to Berlin to Amsterdam to Paris to 8 cities in 9 days. So I mean, basically, and they were only using the train. So it was just basically boom, boom, boom. You get to a city, you don't see anything. And I was like, wow, that's pretty ambitious. Like, it's not what I would do because, I like to go less places and spend more time at a place. Um, but they said something to me that really, really made me sad. And mind you, they were in their 30s, early 30s. And they said, well, we don't think we'll be able to do this again. We don't think we'll be able to travel again to Europe before we die. I'm like, "You're in your 30s. You're not even you're like a third of your life through. You have a lot of time left." But that's to me, that's sort of the American attitude. Well, I'm I've got to work the rest of my life, and then maybe when I retire, I'll be able to do something. And I just it doesn't I feel bad for that kind of thinking. And I mean, it's not like they were she was a dentist, right? She was a dentist, and he was gonna probably make decent money too. So it's not like they were broke. I think they did say they had 4 children under the age of 3. So I'm like, well, you might not be able to travel for a while, but you're gonna get to travel again. But that almost broke my heart with that way of thinking, you know? You try to cram everything in and into the 1 week or 2 weeks you get every year, and then the rest of the year you're working 60, 70 hours a week. It really hurts my heart.
And that's the thing, right? When you don't have that much time, you learn to pack everything in. I remember when I was traveling to Europe during my first time, I traveled to 10 countries in 2 weeks because, well, when you only have 2 weeks, you learn to pack everything in. I had this Google Sheets, the agenda every day from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Every hour had an agenda, something to do. And that's the thing, right? When you travel so far to Europe, to Asia from the US, and you only have 1, 2 weeks, you better make the most out of your time.
That would be miserable. That I would rather not travel than do that. It's like when I see Australians come over, they always come for like a month because it takes so long to get here that they make their time worth it. But in the US, again, we get like a week or 2 weeks vacation per year and you have to pack everything in, I guess. I would just go to like 2 cities. I would use my time in like 2 cities, maybe 3 cities. I would not go to 9 cities or 10 countries in 2 weeks. There's zero chance I would do that, probably.
Now let's get back to paying the bill. But wait, what the hell is this? Sales tax? Tip? Madness. I need to walk off this madness and the lunch. I walk towards Stanford
Yeah, when you go to a restaurant in the US or a store anywhere in the US, you'll see the price for the item on the item, and then when you go to ring it up, it's a different price because then they add tax to it. Here in Germany, they add the tax in the price that's displayed, so what you're seeing is the price you pay, so it's so much easier to plan what you're gonna spend when you know exactly what it's gonna be. Now when you get to the cashier with, like, 10 things and you're rolling the dice to see, okay, is this gonna cost me $55 or $65? Because you're terrible at math like me and you can't add tax on in your head. So, yeah, that is one thing that irritates me, and don't even get me started on tipping culture. That's you know, it's coming here though. I the last couple of times I've gone places and paid by card, it's given me the option of tipping on the card, and I was like, "Ah, no. No, let's not take that part of Americana. Let's leave that part of America back at home."
University, which is nearby. I walk and I walk, and then I realize that I'm the only person walking. Oh wow, it's a lot further than I thought. No wonder nobody walks in the US. I arrived at campus to see a bunch of tourists. American universities, especially elite ones, are tourist hotspots. The brand name, the letters, the cost of tuition. It's one of the biggest businesses in the US. And then I
Yeah, that tuition is $58,000 a year. A year. Not total, a year. I pay 300 and I think 19 euros every term for my tuition, and that's not really tuition. My school's free. That payment is for like student fees, and I get a Metro pass with that. Basically, I get the Deutschland ticket. I can go all throughout Germany on the regional train without having to pay anything to use the train, but I can only use the regional trains. I can't use the fast trains. But I can obviously use public transportation anywhere in Germany with this ticket as well. So I'm essentially not paying anything for tuition versus $58,000 a year to go to Stanford. And I'm going to Humboldt and Fry, which are pretty decent universities here in Germany. You know, there's not, they're not the public universities. And in Germany, public universities are typically a higher standard than private universities, generally speaking. And so, it's not like it's a bad school, you know?
overhear some people talking about the most recent mass shooting.
A mass shooting at an American school in suburban Denver.
They are 25 days in, and there have been 40 mass shootings.
It seems like this is the norm nowadays in the US. It's sad and it's horrible. And oh yeah, the police, they beat up someone else again. What's sad is that many people no longer trust the police. And I know plenty of great police officers, but all it takes is a few bad apples to ruin it for the rest of them. Now I wonder what the news
Yeah, I won't comment on the police officer aspect of it, but the shootings and the murder rate is something else. Here in Berlin, I wanna say there were something like 38 murders last year. I'll put the exact number on the screen, but I think it was 38. Most of them were probably either drug related or domestic violence, not mass shootings. There have been mass stabbing attacks, I believe, but you know, it's hard to kill a lot of people at one time with a knife like you can a gun. But yeah, so if there were 38 murders in Berlin, Berlin has this has a population of about 3.9 million people. Where I'm from, the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex has about the same amount of people, and there were 290 murders last year, roughly. I'll put the number on the screen as well. So the same amount of the same size of city has such vastly different numbers of murders like that. It tells you that there's something driving these there's something driving this difference. Like, what is it that's making this difference? Is it just the fact that guns are easily available, or is there other underlying factors into it? I don't know the answer to that.
news outlets are saying, because I stopped reading the news. It's like this all-out war, CNN versus Fox. You get two different stories. It seems like such a divided country nowadays.
It is.
The left versus the right, Democrats versus Republicans.
It's more like the center versus the right. If the US had a real actual left party, then this could be an argument, but there really isn't a left party in the US. The Democrats were Republicans in the 90s.
The police versus the world. And this is the thing that always shocks me when I come back now. How divided the country has become.
For sure.
I mean, you can literally lose a friend because of politics. The media has done a role in pitting this group versus this group as well. And it's sad because it doesn't seem so united anymore. It seems quite divided.
I will say, I've said this in other videos, that I can't agree to disagree with people who want to strip human rights away from other people. You can't disagree on, you can't agree to disagree on your values, right? That's something I'll never like compromise on, is what I believe, what I believe to be true. Like we could disagree, we could agree to disagree on tax policy or the role that the government has in regulating banking or whatever. But when it comes to treating people equally, when it comes to protecting the rights of people who can't protect themselves, I will never, ever agree to disagree on those rights. Now, he's right. The media has played into this divide, but I don't think it's the way that he is saying. I think it's because um, there's money to be made in division, and I'm talking not just at the national broadcast level. I'm talking at the YouTube level, at Twitch, at the podcast level. There's money to be made in hate, and there's money to be made by people who pander to people who feel like outcasts and who do struggle to get on in a world that's confusing. Less educated people who educate. If education does one thing, it's makes you see things outside of what you knew to begin with. And it makes you realize that the world isn't so scary when you can understand it. When you can't understand the world, it's scary. Things are scary that you don't understand. And these podcasts, these Andrew Tates, these Tucker Carlsons, these Joe Rogans play into this into this detachment and not understanding of the world to make money. If there were true beliefs, that would be bad enough, but this is all about making money, and it's gross. And that's kind of why that's part of why we are where we are today.
Every time I come back, and it's sad. And the thing about the police, well, the police, they have such a bad reputation now, when in fact, they should be part of the community, protecting people. And yes, there have been very unfortunate events that have happened. But when I think about the majority of the police officers that I have met in the past, they've been good people, genuinely good people. And nowadays, we tend to label people based on this profession. It's a bias, when in fact, I think it's wrong to do that. I think we should judge people based on their character, not on a label that we attach them to.
I mean, he's not wrong, right? You should judge people on the content of their character, right? You should. That's for sure. But the thing is, it's not my job to clear up your reputation. If you have a reputation, it's up to you to show that you don't live up to that reputation. Um, it's I think there's a I can't remember the exact line, but there's a line in Men in Black where Tommy Lee Jones is like, people, a person is fine. People are the problem. They're scared. They're a mass of um, panic and fear. The individual is okay. It's the group that is the problem, and the problem with the police are they've been militarized, and you see these police forces in the U.S. with uh, MRAVs and like Hummers and like this military equipment after 9/11, and it's to me, it's fostered a sense of this bunker mentality. It's us versus them, and when you see when you're in this heightened state of alert, of always being scared of everything, that's when people get hurt, right? That's when people get shot because they're scared. That's the the running theme through all of these police shootings. Anything that happens is, I was in fear of my life. Well, of course you are, because that's you're living in this siege mentality. 50 years ago, I mean, we could get into the racial aspect of policing, but police, like the local beat cop, was in a lot of ways seen as part of the community. You know, their role was crime prevention by having a presence and getting people to talk to you and like to find out, who is selling drugs on which corners. And, you did that by talking to the community. And while we can debate the role of the police force, the historical role of the police force is not something I want to get into today. But the role of the police in the last 50 years has certainly changed from this community presence to this bunker siege mentality where everyone's out to get you, everyone's always trying to kill you. Well, of course, you're going to be in this heightened state if everyone's always trying to get you.
But yeah, I hope things get better. I don't think so in the short term, but I hope things get better. But hey, at least public restrooms are still free in the US. It's time to head to the mall to do some shopping and say hello to American consumerism and overly friendly customer service people. Shopping in the US is sort of like a game, looking for deals, getting credit card points. It can be
I hate the over friendly service people. I don't hate the people. I hate the over friendliness of it. I hate the waiters who come and bother you for every 5 minutes, make sure you're okay. It annoys me so bad. The complete opposite of that is here when waiters never come and never like fill your drink up or anything like that. So there's got to be some sort of middle ground that we could find, right? Surely we can find a middle ground on the waste on people helping you. There's got to be middle ground between never being there and always being there and never leaving you alone.
extremely fun and addicting. But this is all part of the game of American consumerism, so be careful, or else you'll be in credit card debt like a third of Americans. Well, it's late and it's time to head home. And of course, there's traffic at 3 p.m. And this guy ahead of me just cut off the cyclist. It's quite a shock to see bikes, cars, buses, motorcycles all merging together in one lane. It can be quite dangerous to cycle in an American city. I then go and meet some friends for a drink, and I meet up.
I would never ever ride my bike like I ride my bike here in Dallas. There is no way I would go everywhere on my bike like I do here. No way.
All these techies. And of course, I get asked the popular question.
Hey, so what do you do? I make YouTube videos. Oh, so you work for YouTube and Google, right? No, I just make videos. Oh,
It says normal dude. I don't know that, Dave. I don't know that we are normal folk because we make videos. I think that makes us pretty unique as well.
Okay. So this is something that Americans do really well.
It's funny.
We tend to compare ourselves against one another. It's a very competitive society. And we do this at a very young age. Which school, which college did you go to? What type of job, which company, who got promoted? It's part of the system. It's a very competitive society, in my opinion, compared to other societies. And I remember there was one time when I first started off my career, I was working in the Big Four accounting firm. And I went out to a bar with some friends. They were all investment bankers. And I was talking to this one girl who was an investment banker. And of course, we talked about what we did. And when I told her that I worked in a Big Four firm, she kind of looked down upon me and said something very judgmental, like, oh, you only work at a Big Four company. And so I just remember feeling very crappy at that point in time, like I wasn't good enough. But I don't blame her. It's the system that we grow up in.
and we tend to judge each other based on what we do.
What a long, exhausting day. Just another day in Hollywood. Just another day in the US of A.
That was a really good video, David. I really enjoyed that. Let's see, can we show? That was a really good video, David. I really enjoyed that. Thank you for your perspective, and I definitely agree with you on a lot of your points. There are definitely some. I agree with a lot of that. I'm with you on a lot of that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I'll link David's channel in the description, so go check his channel out. Check out some of his videos. After I found this video, I did a little bit of looking through his channel, and he's got some interesting things that I'm definitely going to take a look at. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so, and let me know, how do you like these videos? If you find something that you think I would like to react to, leave me a comment and link it in the comment, and I'll take a look at it. So guys, until next time, I'll see you later.